Okay, when I was young, I was extremely shy, and that is a big problem in life. You cannot advance at all. You can't be a very good businessman. I consider myself a businessman, and I'm a bad businessman because I'm too shy. Okay, and also you can't ask anybody anything. Um, Also, my family didn't. My entourage doesn't really help. Also, okay. So I'll continue here. Okay. Now I'll be doing another coloring. This I'm still using as this is a very pasty, soft pasty pastel sennelier. Okay, which they're I'll be using mostly the Rembrandts, but I'm finishing the sennelier is pretty good because you actually could spread them very easily. Okay, as I said, being too shy is a big problem. Also, my father was always working, and every time I do something wrong, my father's by the order of my father spanked me. Okay, that's another problem. Okay. Okay, so I don't know if you can see it. Okay, I'll draw it like this because it's much easier. Okay. I don't know if I can do it. Okay. So I'm going to be using this. And my mother, like, always screamed. Every time that I ask something to my mother, she always screams. She says, "You're impolite." And with the scream that comes in with it. Okay. So I had a lot of trouble asking things. Okay, I couldn't ask. I had to be polite. Okay. Okay, and at school, I was too shy, and it's bizarre, but some of the boys wanted to be friends with me or something like that, and then they turn against me. But the others. Anyways, I had problems with in school. When I was very young. Okay, because I was too shy. Okay, so which one is this? Yellow ochre. Okay, that doesn't help. Okay, this time I have to use the Rembrandt, but the different colors of Rembrandts, they seem to be the texture or the granular of the pastel seem to be different. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna. Which color is this? Because this is a good color. Okay, gold ochre. Okay. So I was bullied a lot, but I have a hard head or like a wide back, so I accepted it a lot. Okay, but it didn't help me at all. Okay, and I was like, sometimes I'm extroverted, sometimes I'm introverted. Technically, I would be extroverted, but because I'm too shy, or my mother always screams at me every time that I ask something. She says, "You're selfish. You're too impolite to ask things to people," and she just kept droning and droning for almost like 15 years, or I would say 13 years. But, okay, this is actually skin color. Okay, I forgot something here. Okay, I finished a book. I nearly finished a book that I'm writing called How to Erase Rape and How to Change Sex for men and women. Okay, and I completely finished the text section. Now I'm doing the comic books section. Okay, the text section has all the data. Well, actually, the other people's data, the scientific source, and that's at the end. I extracted all their data, and then I placed them in a way to. I calculate the amount by how much percentage the plant estrogen lowers testosterone compared to women's estrogen, natural women's estrogen, and natural estrogen. Okay, basically estrogens in fruit. Okay. Now. Okay. So, I'm just wondering, am I doing the right drawing? Because I'm doing the French version later, which is a different drawing. Okay. Yep, that's the one. Okay. So I was also, I'm not tall. I'm only 5'5", 5'4", I don't know, 163, exactly 163 centimeters, which is not very tall. And I'm not very muscular. And I never wanted to, like, I've done a lot of sports, okay. Breaking my legs, or I never broke any bone, but fucking up my knees while I play either football, hockey, or baseball or whatever, or scratching my elbows, completely losing all the skin of my elbow or my knees or whatever. I didn't care, except for my face. Okay, I couldn't, for some reason. Every time I went to a fight, it's like almost impossible, like, to hit somebody's face. Okay, and I never got my face hit either. It seems that when I got into a fight, my opponent noticed that, and my opponent never hit my face while we got into a fight, which is funny. Just kicking other parts, but even then, because the face, because I wanted to be pretty. Okay, and to me it was the same thing for other people, like boys and girls. Okay, I would say that's a problem. As a matter of fact, that's called empathy. Okay. Okay. Last time my mother screamed was when I was about 13. Because my two brothers, especially my first brother, was asking always, like, he's very capitalist in a sense, like, but he spent all his money, most of it. His money doesn't last with him because he just spends. Okay, but he likes to make a lot of money. So he was asking, like, he was whining, he was complaining because he wanted to buy some, he wanted my mother and my father to buy a toy when he was about 13 or something. And then, and my other brother, my second brother also, eventually also. And so my mother says, okay, I'm gonna buy them. Okay, and she asked me, do you want something? I said, well, I'm not sure, but maybe. Okay, I'd like to have this comic book. And after that, when my parents bought the presents, the toys for my two brothers, and my comic book, okay, the comic book for me. Later on, my mother started screaming at me, saying, "Well, you're impolite." Well, she was also screaming to my other two brothers, but also mostly to me because I was there, like closer to my mother, and physically, at the moment I was, right beside my mother. But anyways, so that stuck into my mind. I said, well, I can't ask anybody anything. Okay. So later on, and also my parents. My parents are not very educated, but it's not their fault. It's our culture. Okay. The French Canadians are not very educated, like most of them. Okay. Because because of their mentality. Okay, they still believe in intelligent people are like Merlins, Gandalf, Panoromix, the Druid in Asterix, and I think you get the message. Okay, I think you understand. And also, they lost a lot of knowledge throughout the French people in general, especially the French Canadian. Okay, because the French or the Gaulois has lost a lot of knowledge throughout because of all the invasions they happened, like the German invasion, and after that the Roman invasion with Julius Caesar. And also the various tribes before that, the various tribes that they were fighting each other, like the Edwins. The Edwins are the ones that and also the Pictons at that area. But the biggest one are the Edwins, and I can't remember the other biggest Gaulish tribe at that time. Okay, plus after the Romans, they got overran by the Franks. And also all the wars that happened, the 100 Years' Wars. So they lost a lot of knowledge, especially nutrition, okay? And also before that, about 20,000 years ago, they set up this caste system that people, between the brains, the cool guys, the cool women, and the wimps, okay? And the wimps in the Gaulish society, the Gaulois society, weren't allowed to know how to read and write. That was a law by the Druids. The Romans tried to change that, and I think they did. But eventually, the Gaulois nobles and the Frankish nobles reinstate that peasants and workers or people are not nobles, the non-nobles. The non-noble Gaulois and the few non-noble Franks, which I don't know about them, but the non-noble Gaulois weren't supposed to learn how to read and write and know how to do math, okay? That was after the Romans. Okay, and so by the time when the French went into Canada, most of them, and also most of them were just people, outlaws, poor Catholics. They have to stay poor and stuff like that. But when they moved to the Americas, they lost whatever knowledge they have about plants, how to eat. Okay, plus the Gaulois nobles, plus the Gaulois eating habits is not very good because lots of meat, lots of pork, lots of foie gras, gâteau, okay? And by the time, okay, by the time they reach the 20th century, okay, with after the war, now the capitalists took over the food industry and also the sugar capitalists, okay? So most French Canadian in Quebec, throughout Canada, especially in Quebec, and also a little bit in Ontario, they were only eating sugar. That's it, okay? So because of that, when I was young, I don't know how I kept all my teeth, okay? Except my teeth are crooked for a reason, okay? Because when you eat sugar all day, and then when you go to sleep, your tongue pushes out the teeth. So what it does the contrary of what brace is supposed to do. It pushes out, your teeth grows outward, okay? Which is not very good, okay? And okay, so your teeth grows outward. Oops. And my parents, okay, always bought like canned food. My ex-wife, like, she couldn't believe like we never ate any fresh fruits nor fresh vegetables. Everything was canned, or macaroni and cheese and lots of sugar. I was eating lots of sugar. Okay, so and basically I suspect that I also, like, because of that, because of my shyness, I had kind of like, my memory was like really, I had no memories, nothing. Like I didn't have energy in things, no energy at all. And I don't know how I survived, okay. And also, before the war, before World War II, okay, everybody throughout the world, all the Germans, the Anglo-Saxons, the Africans, the Chinese, the Arabs, the Persians, the Indians, I don't know about the American native, I don't know, okay, but everybody was Finn, okay, except for the French Canadian and the French. They were the only ones that had the big huge belly, okay. Okay, in France they eat just meat, okay. It's the man. Women are Finn. The women are Finn in France, but in France the man, the white man, the Gaulois man, the one that when you get out of Paris or Marseille, which is like very cosmopolitan, it's very international cities, okay, you see the French man, as soon as they get like 30, they have like big huge belly, okay. The ones who are not very educated, okay, very few, like maybe Camus is more intelligent than most of them are. He's pretty thin, except he smokes, okay. In Quebec, there's a lot of, like, I've seen a lot of obese women in Quebec, a lot of obese among the French Canadian, okay. And most of the women in my family, most of the men in my family were obese, okay. They had like big huge belly, like my father, my grandfather, except for my paternal grandfather. I don't know about I can't remember my maternal, but at least he brushed his teeth, which I took harm upon him. Like he says, always brush your teeth. That's what I did. I never missed out very rarely I missed out the day without brushing my teeth. It was extremely rare, okay? So, and And so that's why I was eating a lot of sugar. And maybe, people are consider themselves, I'm autistic, okay? I'm a genetic, because I have a bad gene, that's what they're saying. Me, I probably had some schizophrenia symptoms or autistic symptoms because of my my diet. I was only eating sugar, so I must have missed out a lot of vitamin B12, vitamin B6. The only one that, thank God that I drank a lot of milk. If I didn't drink, I was drinking maybe a gallon of milk every day, that probably saved my life. Okay, either I would have been brain dead. So this is what happened in the United States, among the so-called white trash. If they're eating like the French Canadian, they eat only sugar and stuff like that, or only very cooked meat, doesn't help. Okay, that's why eventually their brain gets kind of damaged places. This is where they don't think well, and they start taking drugs. They start taking crystal meth or whatever. Okay, so that's a problem. But the French Canadian, they're different. They're different from the Anglo-Germano-Saxon because they're too timid. This is what being a Gaulois, we're too timid because we've been conquered by the cool Gaulois 20,000 years ago, in a sense. Okay, in a village, I'll explain that another time, but I'll just overread it. In the village, okay, you're not cool, you're cool. You're smart. So you're going to be the Merlin, you're going to be the knight in the shining armor, the warrior, the Gaulois warrior, and then you're going to be the peasant that toils the land, okay? And you're not allowed to carry any weapons, and you're not allowed to know how to read and write and to talk too loud, okay? So that's, that is a problem. Okay, so I got married with a English woman. Okay, and she's the one that says, I can't believe you never ate it like a fresh fruit or a fresh vegetable in your life. Okay, so but they weren't eating that well either. Okay, yeah, they were eating fresh vegetables, fresh fruits. Okay, the root when the fruit went into their stomach was still fresh, but I think they overcooked their vegetables, and they were eating a lot of pork. I hated that meat. I didn't like any particular meat. Every time I eat beef, it just down on me. Every time I eat beef, when in my 20s, starting from 20 to 21, every time I eat a beef hamburger, I start getting migraines. Besides, I had migraines since 6 years old to about 25, and it started depleting every day. It was extended maybe once. Started off from 6 to 10. Once a week I had migraines. Then from 10 to about 15, I had migraines once a month, and after that it turned to once. From 17 to about 25, it turned into once every season, 4 times a year. Okay, it was seasonal. Okay. So, and when I moved into with my parents-in-law, my ex-wife's family, they were all big. So, and I was sort of thin, except for a small belly that I had because of eating just sugar. I was very skinny. But I went because of the pork. I was too polite. So by politeness, I ate their pork. And about 3 years of being into that family, I was that wide. Okay. So I said, and then every time I went to my mother's place or anybody, and they always give me lasagna full of beef and pork, whatever, and I said, no, okay, I'm vegetarian, okay, because I was, as soon as I went to, I took biology in university, now I found out a lot of things, and I said, no, like I want to lose weight, I'm vegetarian, which I lost a lot of weight, okay. So when I was 23 years old, exactly on my birthday, okay, I became, my 23rd birthday, I became vegetarian, okay, and in about up to 23 years old to about 25, I slowly lost weight, okay. I went down from 180 pounds to 150 pounds, okay, which okay, and after it went up in my head when I lost, I said, oh shit, and then I started getting paranoid over, like I wanted to lose more weight, so I started eating very low. I was eating just one small meal, like just a bowl of rice, and then one apple and one banana, and then oatmeal, porridge, we call it, like that's it. And I went down to 100, in a period like of 3 years, I went down to 109 pounds. And at that moment, when I was in university, I started to notice I was losing a lot of my hair. Okay, and I just panicked. I was blaming testosterone on that. And my doctor, she told me, like throughout the 1990s, she says your vitamin B12 is extremely low. Like I went down to 64 picograms per liter of vitamin B12, which is extremely low. And I could have, like, I don't know if I could get Alzheimer's disease, but you get Alzheimer's disease, you get Alzheimer's symptoms or dementia if that happens. Okay, this is what happened to certain actors who were alcoholics. Okay, so and she says you have to take vitamin B12 pills since you're vegetarian. She was happy I was vegetarian, but she wasn't happy that I wasn't eating a lot. Like at that time, I cut down on sugar. I mean, I didn't cut down on sugar. I stopped eating anything that has sucrose, except for a special occasion. Okay. Okay, so she was on my back, and then I found out that my parents, at my parents' place, they had a bottle of vitamin B12 that one of my uncles says, all these pills, all these vitamin B12s is the fake vitamin B12. It doesn't work. So I believed him. But I never mentioned that to my doctor. She would say, take vitamin B12. Your vitamin B12 is getting lower and lower. At that time, it was like 86 picograms. Then it went down to 64 picograms per liter. Okay, and that's because I believed my uncle without checking, because I was brain lazy, too lazy to do it. Okay, and so, and also I wanted to be natural. I want to be a natural vegetarian. So natural vegetarian don't need supplements. They don't need something artificial, which is completely bull. Okay, there's a group of people in the the south of India, that they have the bacteria inside their small intestine that produces the vitamin B12, so they don't need to ingest it. D. But that bacteria of ours is in our big intestine, which the vitamin B12 cannot get into our bloodstream from the big intestine. So that is the rationale. Okay, I was extremely stupid about that. Basically, because of my uncle, because of my stupidity, I've suffered of anemia from 1988 to 2005, when I decided to drink soy milk enriched with vitamin B12, eat sardines, a can of sardines every day, and eat raw eggs every day, okay, just to get the vitamin B12, okay. So today I'm making sure that I get vitamin B12. As a matter of fact, I have this. Okay, now, okay, this is the this is a natural vitamin B12. The methylcobalamin is the actual human vitamin B12. It's done by the same bacteria that are in animal and bovine intestine. And the bovine vitamin B12 that we're supposed to eat, or whatever, or other animals, is the actual human vitamin B12 that we need. Okay. There's other types. There's cyanocobalamin. The cyanocobalamin is not a fake, but it's another vitamin B12, but it only works at 80% of the time. Okay, which is still good. This is the actual one. Okay, you put it under the tongue and it gets immediately into the bloodstream. As a matter of fact, estrogen, there's like estrogen under the tongue pills. Same thing with testosterone, gets under it and it goes directly into your bloodstream and your brain. Okay, testosterone and estrogen. Okay, so okay. Okay, so I'm going to be using this. No, purple. There it is. Okay, I'm drawing this by memory. Like, I don't have a picture in mind, so I just go by memory. Okay. Okay. And as I said, because of vitamin B12, like I was anemic, and and also I was missing a lot of other types of vitamins. So I started losing my hair a lot. Okay. By 2003, I was almost bald. Okay. 2003 was disgusting, and I blamed testosterone. At the time, I was too shy to ask, and also you know, the men who want to look like women. Like I was reading the worst thing I've done is reading the psychiatrist books, and the psychiatrist book says any man this is what I'm getting from them. Okay, any man who dresses up as a woman, who puts a skirt, dresses. Or wants to become a woman, are perverts, or they're potential rapists. I believe them. So I was scared to ask for a anti-androgen. I was scared to ask to get rid of my testicles because I blamed testosterone. And at one time, I ended up in hospital. 1989, I ended up like in December into hospital because I tried to amputate my testicles, so it was like a lot of blood. And later on, I asked the psychiatrist if can I have an anti-androgen so my hair could to save my hair, because it took a long time for me. At first, I didn't want to say that was a problem for me because to me it was losing the fact that I have that gene supposedly, which I don't think I don't have that gene finally. Okay, but it was like almost like you have bad genes, and because you have bad genes, your soul is not good. Okay, I had that thought. That's a thought that doesn't come only from me. Okay, it comes from everybody else. Okay. Okay, so it comes not only comes from others, from the ambient human Western population, or the Franco-Gaulois and the Anglo-Saxon population. That if you have bad genes, if you're getting bald, that means you're a pervert. Okay, so I had that in my mind. Okay, and when okay, so I asked this psychiatrist, can I have like he's yell at me like my mom on the phone because I was going through a nervous breakdown or whatever, and he says, you don't look like a woman, you're too old. I was 26 at the time. Okay, and you're supposed to be a man, you're supposed to be strong, you're supposed to go out in a bar and fight somebody or whatever. That's what he actually said. Okay, and I stopped listening to him, but he was yelling at me like my mom because I asked something. I was impolite. Okay, I had the nerve to ask that. Okay, so later on, about months, I was suicidal. Later on. And one time I tried to commit suicide, and then I snapped out. Okay, I wanted to please everybody. I wanted to please my father. I'll be a man. I wanted to please that psychiatrist. I'm gonna be a man. But anyways, he wouldn't give me anything. Okay, which after that, it was boring. I didn't like my body. I tried to be a man. It doesn't. I tried to be the image. I always had that fear to lose my hair, and I was losing my hair because of the anemic. Okay, that was like 1990. During the 1990s, I was still vegetarian. I've been vegetarian since 1986 to up to now. I'm still vegetarian now. I haven't eaten any meat at all. I've eaten fish though because of the sardines. That's about it. But I never eat. I stayed away from pork and beef especially, and then chicken and turkey. Okay. Okay, so and so anyways, and then I went at that time before when I was suicidal. During the winter of that was January, the 1st of January, the 3rd of January, or the 7th, around the 5th of January, that's when he yelled at me on the telephone. After that, I went to see other doctors, and they were very hostile and cold. Okay, one of them kicked me out of, two of them kicked me out of their office. Okay, so because I was impolite to ask. Okay, and okay, so but it was like a lot of stuff. Everything, because also plus the anemic, everything was black. I was I'm claustrophobic, and I was imprisoned in a body I hate, and everything was dark around me, so it's awful. I stayed like that till 2007, even though that it took it took about 4 years, 5 years for my brain to regenerate that bad. Like, I had no memory, nothing. I couldn't even think straight. So. And I couldn't even do, like, I've done a lot of comic books, but I've done about like 40 comic books, and I only publish fanzines at the end, okay? But because I had no brains, I couldn't figure out things. I didn't excel, okay? Anyways, so from 1991 and on, I decided to be a man right up to 1998, I mean. That's when I started going back to feminize my body. But the thing is, I never considered myself a woman, but I didn't want to look like a man. That's for sure. Okay? But I mean, because I'm too polite to consider myself as a woman. As a matter of fact, I don't feel like a woman anyways, but I don't feel like a man either. Okay? But I want to look feminine. I want to physically look feminine. Okay. The hair was important. Later on, when I was very, very young, supposedly my narrow hips really bothered me when I was about like 4.5. Okay. I have a lot of cats. And then my hair was very important for me, so I had a fixation over my hair. Now it's mostly my hips, okay? But that's another story. Okay. Okay, so now I was going through, but I was sort of happy because I returned to some of my hobbies. But by the time I came into 2003, my energy went down again a lot because of the anemia. Okay, I moved out of the city. I was in Ottawa at that time, so I moved out of there. I moved into another big city, like in a city in Quebec. Okay, Montreal. Okay, because I wanted to relearn my French language, which is my mother tongue. But I think I made a mistake changing the province, even though that psychiatrist was an asshole. He was I don't think like Anglo-Saxon. He was an Anglo-Saxon, but I was very unlucky with psychiatrists and psychologists at the moment. So I went to see, in 2001, I started mutilating my testicles again. So I went to probably the worst psychiatrist in Quebec. Okay, probably the worst psychiatrist in Quebec. Okay, he's a psychiatrist of the General Hospital. Okay, basically he's the gatekeeper of the gatekeeper. But if you look carefully who he gatekeeps, it's Gaulois, racially Gaulois. Probably French Canadian because they're breaking to Canada, but I don't think it's that. I think he finds Gaulois males ugly, so he was refusing all of them, and then he was accepting other. The Anglo-Germano-Saxon and the Africans, the Asians, and the American natives. Okay, that's what I had the feeling. And there was this sexologist that she said, "Oh well, come and see me," and she was with him. Okay, and and she was very hostile. Very hostile towards men who want to look like women or want to change sex. Okay, she didn't know that I wasn't. She didn't know that I didn't want to change sex. I just wanted to feminize my body. As a matter of fact, I think she did. Okay, but I never like she was very cruel. Like, I mean, she was hostile. Uh, the first day that I seen her, she took a piece of paper, and then she cut it with scissors. Okay, and she said, "Okay, what's this page? I'm gonna cut it now. What is this?" Well, it's still a page. Okay, making reference over that I wanted to change sex. I wanted to amputate my testicles and my penis, which I didn't want that, but my testicle, yes. Okay. Also, she's yelled out. We were in a group session, and she says, and the other man who wanted to become women were talking, and then she yelled out, "Well, heterosexual man who likes femininity, who wants to become women, are violent also." Okay? And you know, what a specification, okay, that she mentioned. And later on, another time, she says, if you're thinking you're gonna have the right to have a sex change from us, you're completely wrong, okay? And she's not the only one. I read also messages from other people who went to see that particular psychiatrist in the general hospital, in the general hospital of that particular department, which is the Department of the Human Sexuality, which is two departments. There's the gender clinic sexuality. I don't know, and also I went to see. Before that, I went to see a psychiatrist. He didn't like me because because I don't look cool, and I'm French Canadian, and he's French Canadian. Okay, so it's a race. And this is what I've been noticing about my own people, is that they hate each other's. Okay, it's worse. It's even worse than Africans hating other Africans. It's even worse than that, because it goes even deeper. It goes up to about like 50,000 years ago. Okay? So, okay, so okay, I don't know if I draw. Okay, so it goes. So it's even deeper. Okay, so this at one time I was on the deck. I was close to with the receptionist, and he wanted to pass. He could have just, and I was like against the desk. He just pushed me like this so he could pass between the desk. The receptionist is there. The desk is there. I mean the desk, and I had to be pushed, and then he walked by. Besides, he sent me to probably the worst clinic. The clinic that's the gatekeeper that refuses all white boys and white men with dark brown hair. I mean, it's like, that's irrational, I guess. Anyways, this sexologist, and also, what else? Okay, and those are the two things, and I noticed that sometimes the session, I seen her for 5 years. Okay, at that time I was studying bio, I got my degree at 1988. But after 1991, I started, even after that, like I would say 1991, I started reading biology, how to feminize my body, but I had to read the hormones, I had to read the human body, the nutrition, okay, believe it or not. But because of the anemia, and also I had no memory, and also my mind was completely disorganized, and my mind was completely disorganized, and no memory. So I didn't tabulate all the scientific paper that I read. So I don't have, like, I read about, altogether since up till now, I've read maybe about 1,000 scientific paper and books on the subject, okay, on the human body, and everything about the human body. And that doesn't include other types of scientific paper and other social book like feminism, history. So that comes up to about, like, I would say, like, close to 2,000 books and scientific article or history articles. Okay, so. Okay, so I better take this. Okay, I better open the door for my cats. Okay. Now, and what else? Also, and she said, "Oh, I'm a dead set against transsexuality." She said, "I'm against transsexuality." And later on, when I went to be evaluated by a psychiatrist in 2015 for something else, okay, and he asked me. I told him, well, I told him, well, the sexologist I've seen, I told him that she's against transsexuality. She's against transsexual, and he was shocked. He says, how can somebody be against transsexuality? Really, he was shocked. Basically, throughout the 5 years that I've seen her, she was just. I got the feeling she was avenging her French Gaulois, Frank Gaulois sisters, because the French and the French Canadian and the Gaulois were forcing them to show off their legs because of femininity. Okay, I got that feeling from her. Okay, and at one time, she knows that I knew somebody that came from Japan, that lived in Japan, and she said, "Oh, that trans woman must, how is she? She must be pretty." And then at one time, I misgendered a trans woman, okay, which I don't consider as a trans woman because she doesn't look like one, and she doesn't act like a woman at all, and kind of like big, like very masculine. Okay, she had long hair, yes, but it's kind of like stringy and grayish. Doesn't even look like a witch. He or she looks mostly like, I don't know, Quasimodo or something, a 6-foot Quasimodo. And she says, no, you misgendered that she's a woman. Okay, basically, that means she's not against transsexuality. She's not against boys and men feminizing their body. That means she chooses. Okay, and when the time I was seeing her, it's as if I was back in school, in high school, where everybody's mean to each other, as if I was uncool. Okay, that's about the impression that I got from her. And also she had She says, well, women who shows their legs are whores or rape victims. Women that poses nude in pornography are whores or are rape victims. Okay, she had like very, I don't know. Okay, and sometimes a lot of the time she says, like, I think I was pissing her off because I couldn't, and also I couldn't, because of that. When the first time I seen her, at the time, I was too empathetic, and I had too much empathy. So I was going through depression, and I extended all my depression towards everybody. So, and I was very close to my mind. Like, I didn't have, like, I was working, but I was trying to save money, but also I was working and the minimum wage, and I was working at night. Okay, I didn't have much energy. Plus, I had anemia. I was working at night, anemia. Nobody made B12 or B6 or whatever. Okay, so and okay, I better check on the in my book what she actually said. I got it written up somewhere. I had the book not very far. Not far. Okay, so this is it. That's not it. Wait a minute. Okay, well, what's this one? Okay. Oh, this is infuriating. I had the book not too far. Okay, well. I have a choice. I think from here, actually. Okay. Like, my memory is not, because kind of nervous right now. Okay. As a matter of fact, I'll read it out. I placed it in the forum. Ok, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many? 58. That's an hour. Okay, I'll read out loud what she said. Like, I got it more. Psychology. This is a Quebec transsexual forum called D'un autre genre. Okay. Okay. This is a critique that I written up. I said the title is Faites attention au racisme des psys. Okay. I don't believe transphobia is it's not a discrimination by itself. Okay, it's an intersection. Okay, there's something else, like the race of the person, especially if they're white, if they're old, they're ugly, and they have a low social class. Those are the ones if it comes up. And they're a man or boy, okay? Especially if they're an old man, okay? But their race is important, and also the social class or the caste system, okay? Okay, now she says, it's in French, so I'll read it out in French, and then I'll try to explain it. Près du début, voici ce qu'elle a dit à moi et à un groupe durant la thérapie. Près du début, première ou troisième rencontre, elle prend une feuille et coupe la feuille, et elle dit, si on la coupe, est-ce que c'est toujours un homme? Okay? Meaning, if we cut this page of paper, is it still a piece of paper? Same thing, if we cut a man, is it still a man? Okay? Si vous pensez que vous aurez une référence de nous pour voir un endocrinologue, vous vous trompez. Actually, she's saying if you want a reference to a change sex, okay, you're wrong. I made a mistake there. But she says, si vous pensez que vous aurez une référence pour un changement de sexe, vous vous trompez. Jamais vous ne l'aurez. Elle dit à un groupe d'un autre sexologue et de trois garçons d'un autre, okay, un groupe, okay, there was another sexologist with her, actually two other, and I think they must have talked to her after, and then three young men who want to become women. Les hommes qui veulent devenir des femmes et qui sont attirés envers les femmes ou la féminité, I think she says femininity, sont violents aussi. She said that in the same group. Okay, and then she says, tu veux être une femme parce que tu as peur d'être un homme. You want to become a woman because you're scared to be a man. Okay, what she mean by that is not because I'm going to go fight off the Germans and get massacred by the Germans. I think she meant because, like, I could go to prison because they'll see me as a sex maniac, or I'm going to become an incel, I'm going to commit suicide. I think this is what I got from her. Okay. Mon vœu pour cette année, my wish for this new year, is that I would like that you like to be a man, that you like your male body. Okay. Okay. Well, that's nice, but no. Okay. That reminds me of a film that I've seen about last week. It's sort of like a Twilight Zone. Anyways, I'll try to get the title. I'll explain that film later in another time. J'avais remarqué, I have noticed at occasion that she said that she was saying something, or that she was responding about something that makes me mad, okay, that makes me angry, and then the next session she asked me, how did you feel what I said? Okay. Okay. Elle m'avait redit après plusieurs années de thérapie qu'elle n'approuvait toujours pas la féminisation des garçons ou autres personnes d'origine masculine. Pourtant, elle me corrigeait une fois sur une personne qui s'était faite opérer. Okay, as I said, she corrected me because I misgendered a trans woman that doesn't look like a woman, that acts like a pervert, and she never seen, her or him, and that means, like, she goes against what she believes. So that means she chooses by the look of the person, or by the creed of the person, which the creed is the family, the race, and the social class, even worse, the caste system. J'avais ressenti un mécontentement de sa part quand je lui avais dit, okay, during that time I was seeing her, I was studying also, and I was feminizing myself physically, not putting dresses nor skirts. I never done that. Okay, that's not me, it was physically. And she knew that I was vegetarian, And also I was taking a lot of phytoestrogen at that time, okay? And I've seen her from 2000, it was 2001 to 2007, and 6 months after I've seen her, I wanted to deposit a complaint against her, and I went to the Order of the Sexologists of Quebec, okay? I went to their bureau, and then there's this girl that was there, says, well, we're too small, we don't do that. You have to go to the Order of the Psychologists, okay? And at that time, I was working at night, okay? I was working at night, and I didn't have energy, and that office, that bureau was like in a part of town where there's like no metro, and it was hard to get. It was like it's almost like a labyrinth. It's like, basically it's a classic Anglo-Saxon town that they seem to fear Vikings again. It's a town that's made to fuck up berserkers, basically Vikings, okay? It was like in Montreal, you mentioned. Anyways, so now where's my glasses? There you go. So basically, okay, so, and all that time I was too polite. Like, I mean, I should have kicked her ass, okay? You know, I didn't want to hurt her at the beginning. I said, okay. And she says, you know, at the beginning she says, well, now don't say you're gonna come and then you don't come, okay? I said, okay. Like, I didn't want to see her more for 2 or 3 sessions. But I decided to say, okay, well, I'll try it again. So I ended up seeing her for about like 5 years, okay? So I paid, and also she lowered her price because she always does that, so to a lot of people. But unfortunately, anyways, so I was a little bit indulgent towards her because she lowered her price. Also, I had empathy for everybody, and I was too polite, too shy to ask, well, this is what I want. I didn't, because of my mother, the way my mother raised me, and the way that my father raised me, spanking me when I do something bad. When every time I was getting hit by the boys, I always thought it's my fault because of the way every time I do something wrong, my father spanked me, my mother yelled at me. Every time the boys hit me or somebody else hit me, I blame myself because that's the way I've been brought up like that. Okay, so basically, I was like I didn't have any defense against her. Okay, and I'm not the only one. I noticed that from other men or boys or men who want to look like women. Okay, they were stuck and they were depressed. They were taking, like, I never took drugs, but they were taking drugs, hard drugs. They were like drinking a lot of alcohol, or they were smoking a lot, which I never smoked in my life because I knew, even like at 7, I wanted to be pretty, and I knew what the cigarettes do. I mean, they completely age you very rapidly. Like, I remember this publicity against cigarettes. You know, there's this woman. This woman in a room, which is blonde, beautiful, very form, the hourglass form, and she has this long cigarette, and this man, who's this pianist at the bottom, this large mansion, that he's playing piano, and the woman on the divan. At the top floor says, can you light my cigarette? He lights the cigarette, and then he follows the cigarette up the stairs, and then he gets there, and then he sees the woman, and she's completely old and shriveled. Just says, baby, where are you going? And then he runs off because he's scared. like I remember that I seen that commercial publicity in around when I was about 7, so it's 7. So that was like 1969, 1970. Okay, and ever since I said I'll never smoke in my life, never, and I never touched any cigarette or nor any marijuana or anything like that. Okay. Okay. So, okay. So I wanted to deposit a complaint against her, and throughout that year, like I was studying, and I couldn't deposit a complaint, but I deposited 2000 around 2017. 18, it was just too late. The accepted was too late. You have to deposit a complaint against a sexologist, a psychologist, psychiatrist, or a medical doctor, or any medical doctor within 5 years. Okay, so it's important. Okay. Okay, so it takes you have to do it within 5 years, okay? And I had a lot of anger issue against women, girls, feminists, and then the capitalists. But at the moment was like, and also psychiatrists. I started like building a lot of anger against psychiatrists, psychologists, and sexologists at that time. Like almost murderous, as a matter of fact. Never against women, never against girls, not for the same reason, but them, I hated them that much, okay? And also I was getting pissed off over white French Canadian men who want to become women, and also the French men who want to become women. I started getting a lot of, because they were racist against themselves, basically. They were stupid and racist against themselves. Basically, they were imbeciles, okay? So, but 2009, I decided to go up. I said, well, I'm reading all these scientific paper on hormones and endocrinologists, and I don't particularly understand what they're talking about, especially when they're talking about different parts of the brain. Okay. Different parts of the brain, okay? So what I did, I took out this book. Because the biology I took was like me. So I took out this book in the library, okay? And at the library, I read it like a full, completely, like 1,265 pages I read, okay? Then I bought it. I bought my own copy, and I decided to read it a second time, okay? It took me about like 3 months to read it, and the first time I read it took me about a year and a half, and this time like 3 months. And then plus I'm starting to read it a third time. And there are some sections I read it more than 3 times, 5 times, okay? And some chapters I read it like 3-4 times, okay? but I'm reading it a third time just to understand. And like I said, and from 2009 up till now, I started organizing, I started tabulating all the scientific paper that I read, because the French men and French Canadian men who want to become women, they say, well, you didn't read it, you have your source, which they say things which are wrong, but they don't show their source, or they show some bling bling source, which is taken from a pamphlet that says, oh, hormones are poisonous to man. You will die if you don't, if you can't have an erection. You'll die if you don't have testosterone. You'll die if you don't have an interest to women's ass. Okay, basically that's what they're saying. Okay, and speaking about my hair, when I started eating every day sardines or fresh eggs, my vitamin B12 went up to about 134 picograms per liter, which is the norm, which is the minimum of the norm. Okay, and it took up to about 2015 for my memory to return, my energy to return, and I was more organized. I started organizing myself at 2009, but it took like from 2007 to 2016, even 17. So that's like 10 years for my brain to heal. It took 10 years. That's a lot. Okay. That's a lot of years. Okay, like the brain cells can be regenerate, but it's long and it's not complete. Okay, so that's important to know. Okay, so I'm gonna finish this, and finally at 2011 I went to see a Vietnamese psychiatrist, and I was like, it took all the force to squash my shyness, and I asked him, okay, I really want the anti-androgen, and he gave it to me. He gave me a prescription that's 1 second after, like immediately. Okay, so which is good, which it doesn't. Okay, so I've been taking AndroCure from 2011 to 2022. Basically patches of estrogen and then AndroCure for about 10 years, and then the medical doctor, and then he has stopped giving me AndroCure, which I agree, because the estrogen could do just as good, except it's weaker, but it's 100% as AndroCure, but it takes a little bit time to feminize you, but it's 100% just like. But also AndroCure can also masculinize you, because if for somehow you have you have no sex hormones in you, because the AndroCure completely stops your body from making any sex hormones or any steroids, even like aldosterone. So you have like, and also because of that, your body can be stressed out, and if your body is stressed out, it will produce more stress hormones, and the stress hormones will imitate testosterone, and also dehydrotestosterone. Okay, as my hair grows, my hair from 2005 when I started. No, so 2005 I was starting. So it took like 13 years. Okay, 2005, my hair regrew from 2005 to about now. It's still regrowing a lot. Like it's still getting more hair. Okay, and it's not because of the hormones. It's because of the anemia. Okay. Okay, it's because of the anemia. Okay, so 20. Okay, so I'm gonna be quick here. Okay. And okay, basically that's the. Okay, I'll finish the drawing and then I'll wrap it up. Today, and I couldn't say no for a long time. I had so much trouble saying no. And I've done a lot of deconditioning of myself by facing about the way my parents have raised me, and I couldn't say no. Now I say no, and now I fear less. Okay, I'm less timid, so I do say what comes up to my mind, and I'm completely changed quite recently, only about a year ago. Okay, so of course I'm still careful on something. It depends if I have a nods either in front of me, so that's going to be a little bit. But I didn't stay. Basically, the lesson to come up, if an information that seems odd, that could put you in trouble, always recheck. Don't believe completely. If somebody gives you an information that puts you in misery, don't believe it. Try to find another read. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna check how horses. Sorry, I made a mistake. Okay, so let's see. Oh well, I'll try. Okay. Okay, I don't know if this works. That's gonna be pretty hard. This is the problem with pastels. They always smudge. Okay. That doesn't work. Okay. I have to erase it. Okay, so. Six. Looks like I'm going to be finished around 2 o'clock, but I'll try to finish quick. it up to here, that's it. Oh, yeah, okay. I know what that. Okay, I don't know if I. Okay, I think I'm finished. Okay, I'll finish it. I'll do the finishing touch later. But I think that's it. I think you get the message. Okay. Okay, all my colorings. Okay, I placed them on a web page that the address is under the on the description under my on the videos that I published on YouTube. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the French version if I'm not too tired. Okay.